Hi everyone, I'm Suzanne. Welcome to this channel. I thought I would take a few minutes to introduce myself and to give you sort of an update on the channel. I was primarily focusing on books when I started, and I was really focusing on trying to learn how to do YouTube, what seemed to fit best, practicing being in front of a camera, learning to edit, all the while focusing on books, which I absolutely love. They are a passion of mine. I love reading. I love talking about books. I love collecting books. I love sharing books. I love having conversations about books. So BookTube seemed like a really great fit for me. And when I started this channel, I did consider sharing about our homeschool life, but I had opted not to share as a homeschool mom. One of the big reasons was that I didn't feel confident enough to share. I just finished our third year of homeschooling, but there's still always that feeling that I have to learn more, I have to learn more. And then I realized by the time I feel confident as a homeschool mom, if that ever happens, to the degree I would be comfortable enough to have a channel focused on homeschooling, I won't remember anything from these early years. So that is one of the reasons I've started to share more about our homeschooling journey. And the other reason is because it takes up a lot of my time, a lot of my actual physical time, as well as in my mind. So my headspace, I do a lot of research, I do a lot of reading. And while this channel is still going to be primarily focused on books, I am going to talk more about our homeschool journey. And I've started to do that. And really, I'm still doing the same thing in terms of sharing resources that we use and sharing books. This has felt like a very organic shift that I've been making, and I've decided to embrace that. So today, I'm going to introduce myself as a homeschool mom and tell you a little bit about our homeschool journey. I do want to note that I'm still going to talk a lot about books. As you see behind me, there's a huge stack of middle grade books, and I love sharing those hauls. I love sharing about the books that we're reading, and I also love sharing about the books that I'm reading. So I'll definitely be throwing those in there as well, sort of my wrap-ups on what I've been currently reading. In the past year, I've personally been reading a lot of fantasy books, and for years, I've read a huge amount of nonfiction books, so I still have a soft spot and love, books of essays and memoirs, those sort of things. So I'll share those when I read them as well. But I'm definitely going to be talking more about our homeschool journey than I ever have in the past. So I'll just give you a quick synopsis of our homeschooling journey. We are a secular family, and I tend to use mostly secular curriculum. And that's another reason actually why I decided I wanted to move a little more into sharing that, in case there are other secular homeschoolers like us, because I have bought quite a few things now on recommendations from other homeschool moms that I follow, and thinking that I could, because they're faith-based curriculum, or as well as faith-based homeschoolers, and I've learned so much from them. So I'm going to continue to watch, of course, faith-based homeschoolers. However, I have bought one too many things now where it just didn't work. So I feel a little tired on that front. I took the attitude for a while of take what you like and leave the rest. But it became almost like an added workload for me. So on top of what I was already doing for homeschooling, then I had to pre-read a lot of things. I had to think about how I would approach it maybe differently. And it became just onerous. I feel a little bit done on that scenario, like I said. And so I'm really looking for secular homeschooling material. And I know that I can't be alone in that. If you're a homeschooling family or a homeschooling mama, I know that you're looking for some of these things too. So if I come across something and it can possibly help out another secular homeschooler, then I feel really good about that. Now, this isn't 100%. So for example, one of the homeschooling moms and authors that I really get so much out of is Sally Clarkson, and she is a Christian-based woman and raised her family with those Christian values. And while I can't teach my daughter some of those things that she's talking about. There's so many other lessons that I have learned from her. And I have learned so much from Christian YouTubers that are on here as well. However, I do want to make that distinction because I think it's really important for those like myself who are looking to hear from and to build community with other secular homeschoolers. Here I am. Okay, so that's enough of that. I think it was a little long-winded, but I'm probably going to leave it in there because it's really important for us secular homeschoolers to be able to find each other and to help each other and to learn from each other. So I started homeschooling my daughter when she first started. She's never actually been to public school, and she's turned 8, and we just finished our 3rd year of homeschooling. As I'm filming this video, it is currently the summer of 2021. I mentioned that to give reference to this time period in history, and we've just finished many lockdowns in terms of the COVID pandemic, and it really has affected our homeschooling in the past year. And because we are my daughter's an only child, so we're a one-child family, a family of 3, it really affected us in terms of her ability to socialize and to have that sort of engagement. Now, when it first happened in March of 2020, I kind of enjoyed having some downtime and less running around, that sort of thing. By the last winter, it was starting to really wear on us. And I know my daughter was having a really hard time because normally for us homeschooling, we get out there and do many activities with other homeschoolers. And it was really missed in the last year. I'm really hoping in the new school year that we can resume our normal life. And I know that different parts of the world are experiencing things differently. I'm in Nova Scotia, Canada, and we just had a major lockdown. I'm watching a lot of YouTubers, especially those from the United States, but also in Western Canada, starting to resume their normal lives. And we went into our 2nd major lockdown because we went from being, I think, one of the safest places in the world last summer to this spring being like in the top 10 of worst case scenarios. So yeah, it was really hard with the 2nd lockdown, and we're still seeing the effects of that, although we're starting to come out of it in the summer. My point is that it's been a bit challenging in that respect. And what prompted me to go on that diatribe is the fact that we love homeschooling. We really want to continue, but it does seem like it's getting harder every year. And I suspect as she ages, my daughter, who's Vivian, by the way, her name is Vivian, as she ages, it will get more challenging in some respects and maybe easier in others. Easier because she can do more independent study, more challenging because I think I'm going to have to do more prep work, which is what I've been seeing thus far. I do want to quickly mention one of the things that we decided to do, or I decided to do, was after reading so many books and so many studies like based in Finland, that sort of thing, where they don't teach their children to read till 7. Children are not taught to read till they're 7 years old in Finland, for example. That's just one of the examples. But the studies, they've done so many studies on reading that say it doesn't matter if they start at 5 or 7, that later on in life they're on par. The only difference that seemed to be there later in life was many of those that were taught to read earlier in life grew to hate reading. And those that started at 7, that wasn't the case. Now, I'm not saying all of them, I'm just saying a higher percentage. So I had decided to wait to teach my daughter how to read in grade 1 as opposed to kindergarten. So that's one of the differences in terms of where we're at in our homeschooling journey. And if you were to ask me one of the things that I've learned that I would love to pass along with somebody, it has to do with that, which is why I'm mentioning it. It's because while those studies are great, it's like my Michael, Vivian's dad, said at one point, it's great that those studies are there, and it's great for those other countries because everybody in the country is doing the same thing. This is my point. Whereas we're in a society where that isn't the case, and that is fine if you're only engaging with other homeschoolers. But I had put Vivian into a couple of classes that had homeschoolers as well as public school children. Brownies, for example. I think she was, Sparks at the time. And it did come up quite a few times. And I just want to put that out there. Well, I think the reasons behind and the research that I did behind making that decision was sound. The one piece that I never considered was that we do live in a different society and not everybody's making those choices. So I think you need to consider as well what your plans are outside of your own homeschooling space and outside of other homeschooling activities, where that might come in, that decision might have impact, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Because I would probably make a different choice today for that reason only. In terms of her love of reading and her ability to read, all that's fine. And it's going on the schedule that I've now set. So I have no concerns on that front. It was just some of the experiences that happened outside of our circle that I do think, you know, I had to talk to her about because I didn't want it to affect her self-esteem, that sort of thing. So there's one of my big lessons that I had from homeschooling, and I felt really nervous to share those sort of things. The reason that I felt nervous is because I'm not sure what I feel comfortable sharing with about Vivian's personal story. So I'm going to share that one because that is certainly based on a decision that I, as a mother and a homeschooling mom, made. But, you know, I'm just going to go along this journey on YouTube and make those decisions as I go and what I feel right about. And if other homeschoolers are watching this, I'm sure these are questions that you've asked yourself and continue to ask yourself as well. But I'm just starting this journey, so there are big question marks for both myself and my partner, Michael, what that's going to look like. The only decision that I've made so far in this YouTube journey that I have stuck to for months is I let Vivian decide what videos she wants to be in or not be in. And if I'm going to share anything of hers, I ask her. There's moments that she doesn't like it at all. She's like, no, mommy, that's personal. And I respect that. And so we just move on. I don't include those things. I don't include her. And I think at the beginning she wanted to be in a lot more videos. She thought it was fun. And then it began to be a little bit tedious for her and she didn't want any part of it. That's been a huge learning curve as well since I started YouTube. So that's kind of my update. I'm trying to think if I forgot anything. I really just wanted to introduce myself as a homeschooling mom and to say that I'm going to share a lot more homeschooling resources that I have in the past and make a lot more homeschool content than I have in the past, but I'm still definitely sharing about books because I love them and I'm so excited. We've just built a library, so I can't wait to share those things with you. And I think I've shared enough, but thank you for watching and I look forward to sharing what's going on with us in the next year. I'm going to share our curriculum for the first time. A little bit nervous and excited about that all at the same time. So if you're new to homeschooling or if you're a secular homeschooler that wants to introduce yourself, please do so in the comments. And if you know of other homeschoolers that are on YouTube that somehow the algorithm is not giving me because I still keep discovering people, and although I've been searching for a year. So if there's any homeschoolers, secular homeschoolers that you love, let me know in the comments below if you're a secular homeschooler and where you are in the homeschooling journey. If you're doing it for the 2nd year or your 10th year, I would love the chance to get to know you and other homeschoolers. And I would love to build a community of secular homeschoolers around this channel as well. And I think that I'll stop there. Thank you for watching, like I said, and I will see you soon. I've been ending my videos up to this point by saying I'll see you soon with another bookish video. So I don't know how to end this now. I'll see you soon with another homeschool bookish video. That doesn't sound quite right. I don't know. I'll have to work on that. If you have a suggestion, let me know. Until I figure that out, today I will end by saying I will talk to you soon.